Pretty dry and sandy, I would say. We're in Mineral County, Nevada still, and we're heading over into California. A really nice herd of wild horses. I'm about 100 yards away, so they're really concerned about my presence. I'll try to just be quiet so you can see them. They're starting to take off. They're wild, they're not used to seeing people approach them.
I didn't expect it to come. Okay. You want to shoot me this way or you want me to move? I just love these Joshua trees. I think they're pretty cool.
They're so interesting.
Yes, they are.
Tough and long-lived. We left Nevada through Montgomery Pass and ended up going through Bishop, California and US 395. We continued south until just after Lone Pine and caught Highway 136, which skirts the eastern shore of Owens Lake. We also stopped at the little cemetery near Keeler, which is near the road that goes up to Cerro Gordo up here in the mountains. We continued along the highway and connected into Highway 190, which goes into Death Valley National Park. That's the entrance over here. It's $30 to even drive through there. We broke off here onto Darwin Road and ended up in Darwin. Well, it's a nice morning for a road trip, isn't it, Kelly?
Yes, it is.
There's Boundary Peak yet again in the distance, and that separates the state of Nevada from California. We're heading past Boundary Peak, and soon we'll be leaving Nevada and we'll be in California. Heading across the border into California. Gonna check for agricultural products. Well, we're swinging through Bishop, California on our way today. Boy, a fair amount of snow up in the mountains. Well, hello everybody. Glad you could join us today. Today we're on an adventure in Inyo County, California, and we'll be taking a look at the rural community of Darwin, California. We're making this left-hand turn onto Highway 136 that passes through Keeler on the other side of Owens Lake. Really like those rock formations at the base of the mountain range. Not too far away from the Alabama hills. Some big boulders back in there. Beautiful, amazing Eastern Sierra. The southern section of the Sierra is actually the highest. That's where we're at today. Kelly, we're not too far away from Cerro Gordo.
Oh.
We'll be passing by Keeler, and Owens Lake is just to the right of us. What's left of it. Not much water in there right now. This Owens Lake, what's left of it, has an interesting story. Many years ago, the city of Los Angeles used deception to take control of all the water rights in the area to get the water for the city of Los Angeles. And then over the years, when it got drier, the dust that came from here ended up all the way over the other side of the world in Japan, and the United States had to pay Japan for the pollution that it caused all the way over there from here in the Owens Valley. But during my grandfather's time, they used to raise a lot of orchards around this area. I believe pears and so forth, and that's all gone now. Here's a quick overview of what's left of Owens Lake. This is the road going around Owens Lake, not too far from Keeler, which is near Cerro Gordo. I rode my bicycle from there all the way over to there 2 years ago. Did a video on that. That was interesting. It's kind of sandy and dry around Owens Lake. I'll bet the sand and dust just kicks up around here like nobody's business.
We are at the Keeler Cemetery, and right up that way is Cerro Gordo.
It's a pretty rough road up there.
Yes, that's what I hear. J.R. Bean, he died in 1915, and Luna Bean died in 1909.
Not too far from the lake. There's the modern community of Keeler in the distance. Here are resting Burr and Francis Deal, and behind them, up in the mountains, is Cerro Gordo. Keep going straight ahead. This can take you to Death Valley eventually. And if you were to make that right, that takes you to the town of Olancha, which is just on the southern shore of what's left of Owens Lake. We just turned off the main road. We're heading down Darwin Road. Right in the middle of this Joshua tree forest. What'd you find, Kelly?
Oh, there's a little bit of green on that desert mallow down there, so it is getting
There is
some
a little
water.
bit, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. It's a lot drier than in our area.
Yes, it is. Such a unique, beautiful landscape. It's beautiful out here.
You can see where the last year's flower cluster was. They have a white flower. I believe the pollinator comes out at night, some kind of a moth. Look at these spikes.
They are sharp. You could
Oh.
easily get stabbed with one of these.
I'm kind of glad I don't have one of these in my yard. We have some in town in Hawthorne, but these are super sharp. Knowing me, I'd probably get poked right in the eye with one of these. So, ugh. But they're beautiful. We still love them. But they're really, really stiff and sharp. These are just like little spears. And they're really hard, and it's got a really nice tip on it. Here's one of those desert mallows, Kelly, and it's got the new growth, but you can tell it's a lot drier in this area than where we're from.
Yes, it is.
road into the Darwin area. Up on the hill just to the left of the road, that's the mining district, and the town is just straight ahead. I believe that's Project Darwin LLC there on the left. Seems to be active. You can see some of the shanties from years ago. Might have been housing, mining housing. And as you can see, there's a modern operation mixed in with the older historical. It's all private property in here, by the way. This is a desert creosote bush. Likes the hot desert. You can see what the region looks like in the distance around Darwin. There's roughly about 35 people in the little town of Darwin. We're just on the outskirts of it right now. Okay, now we're just pulling into town. Darwin. Here's the Darwin Dance Hall. Here's the old outpost, the old post office. I like that sign. Allergy alert, warning, large quantities of peanut butter and peanut oil present inside. Enter at your own risk. Nice little places, nice little homes, some cabins. Definitely has an artsy flair to it. I can tell there's a lot of creative, artsy artist types. I see a lot of sculptures. We've just decided to tailgate it underneath the shade tree, and while Kellie's getting lunch together, I'm going to take everybody on a little tour of some of these sculptures around. Lots of burro droppings. I think the burros come here and get some shade also. Look at this one. Looks like the human form. Oh, it's really smooth. Very well done. Some others over here, across the way. Kind of an eclectic community. See, we've got some nice shade trees, and there's an outhouse there, I guess, for visitors. Oh, I like these. Very well executed. Look at the granite. Good job. You can see where the mining operations were up on the hill. Now keep in mind, this is a rough and rowdy town back in the day. Had a lot of shootings, a lot of fights. I mean, law enforcement was afraid to go in here back in the day when this is a rough and rowdy mining town. Decided to have our lunch right near the main intersection of town underneath a nice shade tree. So what do we have today for lunch, Kelly?
Well, we're having some homemade rolls with some roast beef sandwiches, and we got brownies for lunch.
Oh, brownies.
Dessert.
Who made those?
I did, of course.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. You know, one thing I've noticed about this town is there's quite a few art sculptures all over the place, just randomly everywhere.
Yeah, and they look like they're very well executed and good quality.
Yeah.
Like somebody knows what they're doing, you know?
Serious artist.
And I've seen some art in some of the windows. It's just very creative. There's a creative element here.
Very much
for sure.
So.
Look at this one here, Darwin Station. There's even some type of steel, kind of a whimsical structure there.
It's just a nice, unique place.
Yeah.
Library.
Yeah. Oh, look, they have a new library. The old library used to be in a trailer. This is nice. I've got a nice library. It's small, but there's only 35 people that live here, so it's going to be small. Interesting. See, even like, to me, even this driftwood, it's very artistic.
Yeah.
To me, you know. It has this, and there's all these sculptures along here. Look at this one with the hole in it. Huh. Look at this one, Kelly. It reminds me of an angel.
Yeah, it does me too.
And look at these over here. I like these are like really rough cut, more like natural. Look at how shiny that one is.
Yeah, they've polished them.
Yeah. Really neat. There's quite a few back in there. See back over there? I like those. Look at that little house.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're taking a look at the Darwin Community Garden. Nice little places to hang out in the back of the house, a little barbecue, fire pit area. And I think for being out in the desert like it is, I think not only are there a lot of artists, but I think a lot of people like to garden. And they're probably really good at getting a lot of use out of their water to get all these trees and bushes out here.
I bet they are too.
This one. Interesting. Looks like a couple right there. Got a lot of curves on these. Look at the nice little creative garden, and there's some type of a water feature, like a fountain. It looks like it's made out of like a big industrial spring from like a mine or a rail car or something. But it works. It's a nice little garden. Nice little places out here.
Yeah, they're unique.
Yeah, very unique. It reminds me of an artist colony, like in Sausalito. Like years ago in Sausalito when all the artists were living on their boats and everything. Kind of reminds me of that. I bet there's more than one artist in this town.
I bet there is too.
Walking up towards the post office. Looks like they've got a book exchange going on for the community also. Imagine there's a lot of readers in this town. Nice little post office.
It looks like it's kind of gotten weather beaten.
Here's the post office. There's all the little P.O. boxes for everybody, and there's the service window. There we go. Full service post office looks like to me. It's just tiny.
Oh, yeah. Look at those post office boxes there. I think they're antiques.
Classic.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Really interesting. Fun little post office they have. You can hang out here. They got chairs and everything. Yeah. There's the little post office. Are those buds on those?
Those are spent buds, but look at those new.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Tiny purple ones.
Right, right.
I think these are going to be pink.
Yeah. Well, this place is surrounded by creosote bushes, but there are some grapevines on their back fence there. So there's a lot of gardening effort going on in the little community. And as you know, we both like to garden, so we can appreciate that. Up on the hill, you can see some water tanks. I believe the larger one is the older one, and it's 55,000 gallon capacity. And there's been some disputes over the years with the town water board. But the interesting thing is that the town watershed actually goes into the China Lake Naval Weapons Center. So they have to work really closely with the Navy because that's basically a top secret base, military base there. And so I imagine they have to work together to make sure the town's okay and that the naval installation still has its security privacy. So it's kind of a balancing act, and it's always hard to get everybody in a town to agree on something. So, but that's the water tower for the town. Like I said, surprisingly, there's a lot of trees in the town, and a lot of people have made the effort to make some green spaces, and you can see it's surrounded by an extreme desert. So I imagine this could be a really fun town in the summertime, and you're with your neighbors and friends having a little barbecue and hanging out and looking at the sky and everything. Could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
A little bit quiet maybe for some people, but and haven't seen any children at all. No children and no stray dogs or anything like that. It's interesting.
This princess plume, they're all over up here and they're very pretty and they just grow wild.
Kelly, I like your assessment of this town. Didn't you say it was like you kind of liked it's kind of got the bohemian vibe?
Yeah, it's got a bohemian vibe. I'm doing my own thing, leave me alone.
Yeah. Very peaceful, very interesting, and
I like it.
I feel like I went to the art museum today, which is fun. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
giving
a
that
fun
as a
place.
compliment for the
Yeah,
town,
it's
as a
fun.
compliment.
It's fun.
Kelly, look how rough this wash is. Can you imagine when they get the thunder showers and
Oh,
stuff, which
boy,
is
I
it's
bet.
probably not very often, but I imagine it causes a lot of trouble on these streets, and they probably wash out and
Yep.
gravel gets washed where it's not supposed to be, and
Mm-hmm.
and here's looks like one of the bigger washes right here.
Yeah.
Here's a good panoramic overview of the little town of Darwin. Population 35 or so. Look at some of these cute houses. It sure does remind me of some kind of like houseboats in Sausalito kind of a thing. Really interesting. And then we notice this one has a big fence around it. They must have a nice orchard tucked back in there, like a self-sufficiency orchard in the back. Really nice. Kind of fun. Here's the view from up here on the hill. They're doing some home repairs on this place. They've got a bunch of little houses all lined up, and then they've got that, it looks like a secret garden or an orchard on the other side of that fence. And look at all these funky, whimsical, they've taken junk and made it into art. Kind of fun. Oh yeah, I can see some fruit trees back in there. The town is named after Dr. Erasmus Darien French. He was a U.S. Army deserter during the California Gold Rush. He was a prospector and a doctor. And this area was the lost gun site lode. They were looking for that in over there in Death Valley on the other side of the hill. And he never found the lost gun site lode over in Death Valley. But in 1874, they discovered silver in the area. And a year later, there was a huge, during that year, there was a big influx of people working the mines. And a year later, there was a big labor dispute. And in 1945, the mine in the area revived, and it was one of the world's largest, if not the largest, producer of lead. And in 1977, it finally shut down. But Erasmus French, Darwin French, who the town was named after, he was never set foot in the town.
Oh, he never has.
No,
Huh?
look at this old truck.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't see those on the road anymore.
No, this one's not going there either.
Might make it to the truck show in Reno though. They fix it up. It's definitely worthy. From Ontario, Raphael Cuervo in 1874 was the first to find some ore in this area, and it was the Coso mining district. And in 1877, there were 3 furnaces in the area, and there was the most productive mines in this area were the Christmas Gift, the Defiance, and the Lucky Jim. And between the years of 1875 and 1951, 1.4 million pounds of copper were pulled out, 5,900 ounces of gold, 7.9 million ounces of silver, 111 million pounds of lead, and 52 million pounds of zinc. That's quite a big haul, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of getting the walking tour of Darwin today. Kelly, one thing I noticed about this town,
What's that?
it's really quiet.
Yes, it is. Very cool.
No teenagers, no kids, no barking dogs.
No, none of that.
Kelly, look at the cactus underneath the Joshua tree.
Yeah, I
See
think
it?
they're pretty cool.
There's the flagpole clicking in the breeze. Well, this one needs some work.
Yeah, it does.
It needs some work, but it looks like it's still,
Well, maybe a little paint. It'll be good to
yeah.
go.
That old Ford truck is just about engulfed in the junk pile, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting how it's submerged in the
Yeah.
dirt.
Like the earth is just swallowing it up.
Yep.
See this house on the right here
Yeah.
with the statues in the front?
Uh-huh.
I think that's Monty Brannigan and his wife's house. I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, but that's their house. The Brannigans. That's the one person in town I wouldn't mind talking to today. Fulton Street. Just saw a couple hummingbirds go by. They're migrating this time of year. Look at all the rocks in front here. Yeah, this was Monty Brannigan's house. You know, I'm not sure if he's still alive. Look at the beautiful iris. Interesting. Yeah, it's been quite a few years. I'm not sure if Monty is still alive or not. It's been quite a while, but
Mm-hmm.
he was an older gentleman, but he was one of the people that I would be interested in meeting.
Oh.
He worked in the mines here, and he was really good. He
Oh,
was really good
okay.
with uh, art and sculpture, and there's a lot of people
Oh,
in town that are handy.
yeah.
And I think he's the one who had the little fire truck at one time. They needed a fire truck.
Oh, you
Yeah,
told me
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple people I wouldn't mind meeting today, but I think a lot of these people have maybe passed on over the
It's
years,
possible.
So in a town like this, Kelly, you've got to be an independent self-starter.
Yeah,
Because if you're not doing it yourself or have a friend to help you, it's not getting done.
that's true.
Some of the homes have a more modern touch and feel to them. And then some are a little bit more on the rustic side. Very interesting. Look at the old VW Bug. Remember those?
Yep, I sure do.
Air-cooled engine on them. It's got a new roof on that. Here's some of these smaller houses.
This is an old-timey house.
Uh-huh.
Cute.
It is cute. To me, it's kind of like the old-time little western country little place,
Yes, very much so. It looks like it should have some hops vines growing on the fence or something.
Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting, eclectic little walking tour of Darwin.
Yes, it has been.
And we've been trying to show some of the interesting spots and at the same time kind of respect people's privacy. So it's kind of a fine line.
Right, yes.
So we try to be respectful of people's privacy, but at the same time kind of share some of these interesting things, especially the sculptures and the creative things that people have done to their places out here.
Mm-hmm. And there is a few modern places in here too, thrown in kind of here and there.
I like that it's so quiet.
Yes, I do too.
Look at this one here with the car. Look at this across the street.
Yeah.
Look at that car next to the tiny house.
Mm-hmm.
What a classic, right?
Yeah, it's cute too.
Oh man. The construction of this house, how it's sort of cobbled together like that. Yeah, interesting. You think it would pass the building inspection in town?
No.
Maybe in this town it will, but
yeah, out here I don't think they're paying attention.
No, but look at this gorgeous sculpture. Isn't that beautiful? I think this is one of my favorite sculptures in Darwin. And look at that. You can look through it. And there's Kelly. Hi, Kelly. We see you. It's like a little tin shack.
Mm-hmm.
It actually looks pretty cozy. Looks like a real fun little roadster back in the day. There's an old Renault. Look at these pictures by the Darwin Dance Hall. I think it's a watercolor.
Here is a marker that tells you a little bit about Darwin. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to read. It just says that the doctor Darwin French explored the area in 1860, given the name of the Falls Canyon and Wash. It goes on to talking about the mine, and unfortunately that's rubbed out. You can't really see it. But I'm sure you could find out this information pretty easily. But it's kind of a nice little marker here.
Kelly, I was really pleasantly surprised with Darwin because this town back in the day was just a rough and tough, murderous, gunfighting, lawless place, you know? And they've made it into like a real interesting, peaceful, kind of like an artist's enclave.
Yes.
And real quiet. And I think I could actually live in a place like this.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah,
Quiet.
yeah, a lot of independent living and people doing things their way and everything, and really nice. So we were pleasantly surprised with Darwin, California.
Yeah, we were.
Thanks for coming with us, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Joshua trees for miles and miles.